climbing back upon Mount Soapbox for another rant. And it's a special rant because it's also going to be tied into my collab series that I've been doing off and on over the past few months with various other content creators and streamers. And we're joined today by Kane.
How's it going, everybody?
And riding along in the back seat is our good friend Red. Hello, Red.
Hello.
Now, Red may not say much, but he's going to sit there. He's going to chill. If he has something to say, don't worry. He'll let you know his opinion about this particular topic. The story of the Diamond Casino update is what we'll be ranting about today. And this is something I went back and forth on after the first playthrough. And I've played through the story a few times. So has Kane, so has Red, so has a lot of you. And going back and forth, overall, I would say the story is not very good.
I will say this right now. A lot of people that know me, they know I despise the Doomsday, especially its story. I think the Doomsday Heist had way better writing than this entire DLC story, and that's how you know you fucked up, in my opinion. If I think Doomsday is better than this, sorry, I'm just being real.
Oh, and by the way, we are going to be discussing spoilers of Grand Theft Auto 5 story spoilers, along with the obvious casino story spoilers, and I'm sure most of you have already played the Doomsday Heist, so if Doomsday spoilers pop up, then you were warned. Spoilers will be pouring out in this rant. So, where do we set this event? Okay, 5 years after the opening of the launch of Grand Theft Auto Online is when the Diamond Casino finally arrives, open for business, owned and operated by the Chang family. And the first issue that comes up that is debatable, some people feel one way about it, some people feel another way, is the current owner of the Diamond Casino at the beginning of the game is Tao Chang, who apparently survived the events of Grand Theft Auto 5. Do you guys think this is a problem, or do you think that it's plausibly explained? Because, as Franklin in Death Wish, his dad is kind of a target, and you could make the argument that most players probably chose an RPG or a grenade launcher or a sticky bomb to finish off his dear old dad, which means that poor Tao Chang, who was also in the limo, technically probably didn't survive.
Yeah. Unless someone uses that excuse that someone, that Franklin just used an assault rifle or a mini Uzi on a drive-by, then Tao Chang, he's pretty much, been blown up to smithereens along with his dad.
Yeah, so we have to assume one thing, that Tao Chang was not the target. His dad was. Therefore, it's quite possible that Franklin decided to use his sniper rifle, which he has used several times throughout the main story, some of you remember, in order to deal with his father, leaving Tao Chang alone. So it's quite possible that Franklin was very selective in his target, and we don't know what the canon ending of Grand Theft Auto 5 is. That's not what we're talking about today, but we can at least have a little bit of leeway there and assume that possibly, just possibly, Tao Chang survived while his dearly departed father did not. Another interesting point that FunNW2 tweeted about a few days ago is basically how Rockstar doesn't really care about the Grand Theft Auto Online timeline and how it's is or is not tied in to Grand Theft Auto 5. So that's something else we have to consider. So in the end, it doesn't really matter. The point is Tao Chang is alive in the Diamond Casino update, okay? Now, the other characters that we're introduced to, new characters, Agatha Baker, she's the GM. You have Tom Connors, Champagne Guy. And don't get me started about that freaking meme. I know Riley loves the Champagne meme. Every cutscene that got even more annoying, him always asking for champagne. He's the director of operations. And, of course, you got our good boy Vincent, head of security. And then later on, Brucey, introduced as the trainer and health guru at the Diamond Casino update. So those are the characters. Kane, your overall thoughts about them before we proceed.
My first question is, and this is for Brucey, where's your brother, mate? Where's your brother when we need him?
I think Maury's just hanging out in Liberty City. He wants as much distance between him and Brucey as possible.
I don't blame him, to be honest.
And it's interesting, though, because he shows up, right? And the way I see it is this is the first time you see Brucey shows up at the casino. Like, what, 2 missions in. And then it makes it seem like Brucey's been there the whole time. But if that's the case, then why doesn't Vincent know that Brucey's the trainer health guru? So right there's the first issue that comes up in my opinion when it comes to the character development and the stories and the arcs, is that he's introducing himself to several people, like including Vincent, the characters that make up the protagonists of Grand Theft Auto Online. So I think that Brucey should have already been introduced further back, like at the very beginning when you first walk into the casino, when you have Tom, walking you around the place, giving you the tour.
Another thing with Brucey is I want to quickly add is that the online character sort of is affiliated with him because, if he's on your phone, you can actually ask him to drop bullshot testosterone. For then everyone's beloved player type tryhards, they can just, down that down and then boom, bada bing.
The PST.
Bullshit. Exactly.
Oh yeah, and fun fact, the reason why we don't have any bull shark in the ocean is because of Brucey. That was a terrible joke.
Yeah.
But anyways, so those are the I guess you could say the good characters, right? The good guys at the casino.
Yeah.
There's also bad guys. Avery Duggan, the main antagonist, he is a Texan billionaire, an asset stripper, oil man, gas man. He's worth a few bucks. He's very powerful, very influential. He's the bad guy. And, of course, he also has his nephew, Thornton Duggan. And for the most part, Avery was not a very good antagonist. He wasn't really intimidating. He had very limited screen time. Despite his army of professionals, as they're called, they're officially called professionals, according to GTA Wiki, he never really posed a legitimate or interesting threat at all. In fact, we only really get one cutscene with him where he actually says or does anything. The last cutscene is him running off to a helicopter, and most of us already know how that ends for him. But in my opinion, regarding Avery, we should have had a little bit more screen time with him, or at least another mission to help flesh out his character a little bit more.
I'm going to bring up the Doomsday Heist for a second, and warning, spoilers for the Doomsday Heist. Like, this is beyond Act 2, right? So, everyone already knows the big plot twist in the Doomsday Heist. Avon Hertz and Clifford backstab you as you're on the submarine to kill Bogdan. And here's my opinion right on. Avon Hertz, in, all of Act 3, he shows a legitimate threat because, obviously he has all the data, all the, launch sequences to, nuclear weapons, thanks to Clifford after, Act 2. And, it's like a constant reminder, if we were to fuck up, Avon Hertz could destroy humanity just like Avery. He's just like, oh, you gotta sell us your casino, buddy. And then we say no, and he just gets people to shoot us. And I've been in my fair share of the gunfights with NPCs in GTA Online, but it's just another gunfight if you ask me. Whereas in the Doomsday Heist, despite my feelings on it, it actually feels like, oh shit, if we fuck up, we fuck up, That's my opinion on Avery and how, he should have had more of a legitimate threat.
Yeah, and at the very least, there should have been, somebody that got kidnapped. There was an opportunity in that scene you're talking about where Agatha could have ended up getting kidnapped. But no, he just excuses
Exactly.
Agatha with Thornton, and then you catch up with Agatha later because he doesn't want Agatha to get hurt, I guess, because he's a gentleman, right? Actually, he says he wasn't a gentleman after all, but kind of a joke there, just like him as an antagonist. But, yeah, despite how intimidating his quote-unquote professionals were, his hired, security service that we had to deal with the copy-pasta dialogue that we've heard over and over again from previous other NPCs throughout the game, maybe one Juggernaut, that was it, as a real serious, mini-boss of sorts. But other than that...
Well, in the Doomsday Heist, we have invisible juggernauts.
Yeah, and we have an army of Avery clones and, of course, Clifford. But we get a lot more time with Avery. First off, he's posing as the good guy, right? Trying to save the world. And then, like you said, he does the switch. And some of us saw the switch coming. But still, a lot more story, character development going on, and a much better arc from the Doomsday Heists than the Diamond Casino arc. And I realize that the story in the Diamond Casino update is just a means to an end. But a lot of us fans of Rockstar games like the Grand Theft Auto series, the Red Dead series, are fans of the stories, of the characters, of the plot lines and twists that happen, all the intricacies, the world building. And the story itself does add some more world building to the existence of Grand Theft Auto Online. And I feel like it could have been a lot better handled, especially when it comes to the main antagonist, Avery. Now, I don't know what he could have done. Maybe he could have kidnapped you and your friends, and maybe each of you find yourself in a cell somewhere, and he's joking about how he's caught you, and now that he's got you, he's going to deal with the casino. And then you have to do some sort of like breakout similar to Arthur Morgan in one of the missions of Red Dead Redemption 2. You break out, you take out the guard's fisticuff style, even though the melee sucks in Grand Theft Auto Online. You have to start grabbing weapons. You don't have your weapon will. You have to grab a pistol, and you have to grab an SMG, then a assault rifle, and then fight your way out of wherever you're being held. See, that would have been interesting because then he could have really flaunted like, yeah, I got you all. And now that you're out of the way, I'm going to go deal with, Vincent and everyone else at the casino. So that would have been awesome, but unfortunately, all we got was us driving around blowing up some tankers, and yeah, okay.
That's really fun, Rockstar. We go from stopping World War III to blowing up some oil.
Well done, Rockstar. All right, so moving on. So with the exception of sobering up Tal, Brucey doesn't really bring much to the table, does he?
No, not at all. He's just there for eye candy, if you ask me. I mean, to be fair, we haven't seen Brucey, physically in a Rockstar game since, 2009. And, in my opinion, it's the same way they treated Tony in After Hours. They butchered how he looked a little bit, he's aged not as well. But, I mean, that's just like a little nitpick from...
Yeah, but you can excuse both because they both probably have partied a little bit and had a little too much fun. Yeah. And a bit of a good time.
Especially in Brucey's case when he's doing steroids every 4 seconds.
Yeah, so I mean it can be excused, but I can see when people look at Brucey's facial features compared to how he looked in Grand Theft Auto 4, similar to Tony and Ballad of Gay Tony, and there is differences obviously, and not for the better when you compare the two, but at the same time, yeah, Brucey in my opinion was only brought back because whoever wrote out the script for the Diamond Casino wanted to give us a member berry. Some nostalgia. Like, hey, you remember Brucey? Yeah, I remember Brucey. That's all I can see there with Brucey because he doesn't help you at all. Like, you had this idea, or somebody had the idea, I forgot who it was. I'm sure several others out there have, that Brucey was going to be very important to the final battle or something, where he's going to give you all some bullshit shark testosterone, and that was going to make you a little bit more OP in the final fight. Never happens. He just hangs out with Tal and the humble translator, and they're just working out in Agatha's office.
Yeah, that's all they do.
Wasted opportunity. So, moving forward with, like I mentioned, the story itself, overall, it's just a means to an end. And I realize it's not what the majority of you care about. Of course, those of you listening, maybe you do care. And if you do, I appreciate you guys listening to Kane and me. And by the way, Kane's channel, link below in the description section. But there has been better stories, like with Heist as well as Doomsday Heist. Even a little bit better story development last year with After Hours. So with all the quote-unquote story arcs that have been introduced in various updates, Kane, I would say that this one was probably the worst.
Yes, I probably would agree with you there. Here's how I would rate all the DLC storylines, and this is from all of them I can remember on the top of my head. Heists Part 1, Lowriders, probably some of the business as well. I mean, they sort of have a story where they're like, hey, you want to be a biker? Hey, you want to be a CEO? I guess I'd put those there as well.
Yeah.
And I'd say Gunrunning and Doomsday, I'd put them both there because Agent 14, he does suddenly hint, the Doomsday heist in, I think it's the last mission you do in the MOC ops with the Oppressor Mark 1.
And that's what I like. I like the fact that you technically have a trilogy with, Heist, Gunrunning, and of course Doomsday, because all that kind of sort of can be connected together, whereas the Diamond Casino update is like its own mini standalone story.
Yeah. And, I mean, the thing we can also apply that to the Lowriders update, but at least the Lowriders update had actual good character development, Lamar, he wanted to be the big the big bad wolf of the lowriders. With Benny by his side, they would rule the lowrider world. But he accidentally starts a gang war by accident, and we have to clean up the mess.
Yeah, well, what makes having Lamar as the go-to character in Lowriders better than this is because you already have a relationship with Lamar. Because the protagonist is the one who has a correspondence with Lamar at the very beginning of the game when you start Grand Theft Auto Online, flying in from Liberty City. So you have that bond with Lamar. You have this back and forth, and he sees you as a friend or as somebody that he's helped bring over, and in return, you're helping him out. But at the same time, you see how Lamar's schemes and what he's up to is backfiring and basically making things worse.
Yeah, pretty much.
Plus, in my opinion, Lamar's way more entertaining than Brucey. All right, so let's talk about the final thing that happens that really, I think, irked a lot of us. Yeah. Vincent was probably my favorite new character. I think it was your favorite new character, Red's. Definitely Riley's favorite new character. Really? Man Bun was standing. Vincent was a very stand-up guy. He was there to help you from the very beginning. He was there to meet you at the door when you walked into the casino. He had your back whenever you were going into that fisticuff fight to help, stop the Texans professionals. And then on the rooftop in the terrace, one of the most ridiculous missions in all 6 campaigns. He was there fighting with you side by side. And he gets done wrong, doesn't he, Kane?
Indeed. And I remember one of the lines he says in that mission where there's a shootout, he's like, if we fall, the diamond falls. So what they did to Brucey, technically, they made the diamond fall, if you ask me, because if one of us fall, still, the whole thing falls. Here's what basically happens. So after you finish the final mission where you kill Avery and, Thornton, basically becomes the new buyer for the casino.
Yeah, he becomes the new head of the Duggan family because he has this peace treaty behind the scenes with Agatha and your group, and he's like, hey, kill my uncle, I will make sure that the Chang family, exits gracefully with honor. I'll make sure you guys get a good financial deal. And there was something else he mentioned, Kane. What else did he mention he was going to do?
I cannot believe what I am not hearing.
And you'll keep your jobs. The diamond will remain the diamond.
Oh, I remember, GB. I remember him saying, everybody keeps their jobs and the diamond will remain the diamond.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that too. I remember that too.
But does he keep that word?
No, he doesn't keep that word to poor Vincent.
Well, that reminds me. Vincent.
Yes, sir.
We'll no longer require your services.
Huh?
Security is something we're more than capable of handling ourselves.
But...
Give in your pass at the desk.
I see. Yes, sir. It was a privilege working with you fine people.
Thank you, Vincent.
Yeah, he fires our boy Vincent after Vincent's done a fantastic job helping to defend the Diamond Casino. And the whole BS line is we no longer require your services because we no longer, like, something about security. Well, casinos are always going to need security, not just from angry, billionaires trying to take it over hostily, but from the average person coming in trying to card count or trying to rob them or anything else. I mean, criminals do like to target casinos. That's a historical fact. And you want somebody in charge of your security that is competent, is going to do a great job, and is actually loyal to the casino like Vincent was.
Vincent cared about the casino, He risked his life on that roof for the casino. And what happens? He just gets the middle finger. And another thing as well is I want to bring up, and most people ask me why I dislike Miss Baker. Here's the main key factor of why I really just do not like her as a character. Is that in that cutscene, she had a perfect opportunity to speak out about the firing of Vincent. But what does she say? She just says, "Thank you, Vincent," and she just fiddles around with her, glass of champagne after that. Thank you, Vincent. Is that it?
Yeah, Red has something to say about that.
The thing with that cutscene is it's a very bad joke. It's like you feel it's not funny. It's almost something kind of, I'm not gonna say offensive. I know it's 2019 and call me whatever you want, but you feel is like it's like a bad joke in my opinion. It feels like some sort of uh, like I don't know how to describe it. Like it's like all like that companion you have, and just without a nowhere, just you are fired, and we don't just put your credentials in the desk because we don't need you anymore because I'm the warlord of certain private PMC. So that's the thing. It feels offensive for me. It's like for the player and for someone who Rockstar who is really dedicated in storytelling. Like when you feel that line of Vincent getting fired is really really offensive for me as a Rockstar. Uh, well, the stories of Rockstar, it's mediocre for me.
Exactly, I agree entirely, Red. And it does several things, in my opinion. For one thing, it feels very un GTA. It wasn't necessary at all. Now, I would have liked the idea of them kind of like giving you the plot twist where it seems like Thornton's about to fire him, but then he just makes a smart ass comment about his man bun, like, "Hey, new policy, your man bun has to go." Then people would have laughed about that, like, "Haha, yeah," because most people don't like man buns. And then Vince would be like, "Okay, boss, okay." Because then that would establish Thornton as the boss, right? And it wouldn't have made Thornton seem too much like a dick. Because up to that point, Thornton's kind of likable because, he saves Agatha. And he's like coming in with the white flag on several occasions, trying to help you out behind the scenes because he's realized his uncle has become a whack job. And they don't really do a good enough job there. They should have had a cut scene between him and Avery, showing that. Like how angry Avery was about how everything was falling apart and he wasn't getting his way. To give you that point of view from Thornton that things were going wrong. Seriously wrong for Avery. And we never really feel that. And with Vincent, yeah, I mean, it just felt like it was being done for woke points. It didn't fit with Grand Theft Auto. And I feel sorry for Vincent. I mean, if you wanted to make us feel, we already felt for Vincent. We already liked Vincent. And I seriously hope that we see Vincent again in a future update. And maybe we'll get some Vincent redemption because he definitely deserves it.
Indeed.
I mean, one thing I would have liked is when Vincent gets fired, I would have preferred they done this, and I think you, me, Riley, and Red talked about this one time. But I would have preferred it if, like, Vincent was to, say, you know what, I'll help you out because, you helped me out. And then you can choose to take Vincent to, like, any of your businesses as, like, let's say, for example, you want him in the bunker, for example. Once Vincent is as, like, the security guard, the bunker, raids for any of your businesses disabled forever. Unless you decide to move him to the next business, then raids will come back for the bunker if I was to move Vincent to my counterfeit cash factory.
Exactly. Yeah. It would be like kind of like I guess you would have your own like security quote unquote hero. Like you would move Vincent to one of your businesses in the biker like arc, and then it would just automatically on the screen. Now that Vincent has had security here, no more raids here. But you'd still get raids everywhere else. But at least it would like build up that relationship and continue it between you and Vincent, because I feel like that there was some rapport between the protagonist and Vincent. Hopefully we haven't seen the last of Vincent. Maybe we'll see him in the next update. So, final thoughts before we wrap up, guys.
My opinion on it is, this isn't the Rockstar story I can remember, and keep in mind, I've been spoiled by the story of Red Dead Redemption 2, and I understand this is a small DLC. This can't be like a $1 million, dollar game, This is just a small little story, like DLC. This isn't like a masterpiece long story with like 107 missions. This is just like a short little mission, like DLC with like 6 missions. After playing Red Dead Redemption 2, I'm really spoiled by Rockstar stories. I have that view where it's like, all right, Rockstar's gonna make a great story, or they're gonna make a okay story with a few funny jokes. That's what I would hope for. But this DLC, like honestly, the story was horrible. It was a disaster in my opinion, because they could have gotten maybe the houses, and I'm not sure if they did write the story for the diamond, but they could have gotten them to at least add that little spice of GTA, kind of stories where it's like have a few jokes here, a few jokes there, bit of seriousness here, and then boom, bada bing, the story is concluded, and most people will, be like, hey, this was a good story.
I
That's what
feel
I'm
like
hoping
that the
for.
story, if it was approved, at the very least, it had to have been approved by the Housers, right? Because they're at the top of Rockstar Games. One of them runs the company, the other one's the head writer, and that's where all the awesome characters and story come from. And of course, Laszlo and a few others on their writing staff. So I feel the same way you do, Kane, is that whoever wrote this must have just like rushed it up the chain and been like, okay, here's the story. And then the Housers just like rubber stamped it, like, okay, well that seems okay for the update. All right. Now they're going back to work on writing the story for either Bully 2, Grand Theft Auto 6, or whatever they happen to be working on. Because I'm sure they're working behind the scenes on writing out and scripting the story and the characters and the plot and all that other stuff for the next game. Like I said, we don't know what the next game is yet, but eventually we're going to find out. So obviously the story of the Diamond Casino update most likely was not a top priority.
For me, is rushed, completely mediocre, and in some points, like you feel, like I said, I feel mocked or not offended, but mocked in some points. But it's like JB said, brutally rushed, mediocre, and like I'm very well known to don't have any standards or being soft with anything. So this is it. Like if this is just pure, this is one of the worst stories I can tell. Someone told me in a DLC in not only Rockstar is in all my games. So it's quite a high standard, I said.
Yeah. And in conclusion, we realize that that's not the main selling point of this update. The update's all about the gambling, the chips, the poker table, the blackjack, the roulette table, the slot machine. Spin that wheel, get yourself that car. We know that. We understand completely. But at the same time, as fans of the world of Grand Theft Auto, this does add another layer to the stories that we've come to know, especially in the HD verse, because there's two separate universes, the 3D verse, and then what we're in is the 3D verse, which is Grand Theft Auto 4, Chinatown Wars, Grand Theft Auto 5, and of course Grand Theft Auto Online. It just feels like this is a really, really cheap and thin and pathetic layer to add, especially in comparison to what they're doing over in Reddit Online with the Land of Opportunities. Now, we're not going to go into that, but I will say, when you put them side by side with the Jessica Leclerc Quest for Revenge story arc that's going on over there, whether or not Horley is actually behind it all or not, it's still interesting, and you got a lot of other facets and different characters involved, making that story enticing, and us looking forward to new installments of the Land of Opportunity series. And for the record, I'm glad that they wrapped up this story when it comes to the Diamond Casino.
Yeah, like you can see the differences between both of the stories. Is like it's abysmal, just to say. Like I wanna hell of a story, and you are hungry for more, just to say. And this other is you're glad to just over and get your gift. So,
exactly. That's the only reason why we're playing the story over and over again. It's not for the money, because after the bonuses, the money's not very good. It's for the freaking armored Paragon. That's the only reason why we have to keep playing the story over and over again. And Rockstar, at the very least, you could have given us a better story.
Exactly.
at least keep us intrigued, like in every single piece of the story of the chapter. Like, well, just saying in the missions, just take it as chapters. Like, keep us in touch with like how it's gonna be the next move. Like having those families or these Chinese people and these Texans fighting for one casino, and you can develop a lot of story there. And having this thing with one woman who feels like a robot, and some just lore breaking things, and many more. So you feel that's why you feel like when you are in the third mission, like, please be the sixth one because I want that car and I don't play it.
The things we'll go through for free content, including watching this story unfold over and over again. And maybe that's the real reason why we did this rant video today. But anyways, thank you, Kane. Thank you, Red, for being part of this rant, for taking the hike up here with me to Mount Soapbox. Hope you can find your way down. Watch your step.
I'll have a look. I'll use my jetpack down, courtesy of Avon Hertz.
F in chat
yeah,
for Avon, a much better antagonist than Avery
Exactly.
Duggan.
But yeah, thanks for having us on, man. Really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thank you.
All right, so that's our opinion about the story regarding the Diamond Casino update. You know how we feel now. I want to know what you think. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it had potential to be better? Were you as disappointed as we were with how they did Vincent dirty? Feel free and let us know your honest opinions regarding the Diamond Casino story arc below in the comments section.